Okay. Got a couple more people coming in. So we're going to start today with a presentation from SoftwareONE. And so if you can keep your microphones muted, if you're not one of the presenters for the first part of the program, and then later on we'll be inviting you to ask questions, and we'll have a more interactive session today. This whole presentation will be available on YouTube after the fact as well. So if you have to go, and you can come back and catch the details. I think at the end, especially, there's going to be details about how to actually apply for SoftwareONE's internship position. So, all right. So I think everyone is settled in and we're ready to go. So I wanted to introduce Nina Unger from SoftwareONE. I think many of you recognize her from a past town hall that we did as well. And so Nina, welcome, and why don't we get started?
Thank you. Yeah, maybe you don't recognize me, and that's fine, because I think the last time I was here, I didn't have hair and makeup done. So I'll reintroduce myself as August 18th, 2021, Nina. But I am Nina Unger. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to be back and speaking with you all and trying to give as much information that we have about SoftwareONE in our academy. I had a few people reach out already through LinkedIn, which was wonderful to be able to connect already. So at any point that you are, whether you're looking at this live or if you're watching it another time, connect with us on LinkedIn, and happy to strike up any conversation along the way. But thank you for tuning in and taking your time now. I want to present here a deck. Let me pull it up here quick. All right, so I'm going to walk you through a bit more about SoftwareONE and who we are and what we do, kind of recap from the last time that I spoke with everybody at Reskilling Americans, and maybe fill in a little bit more, because as we do at SoftwareONE, we change every single day. We're constantly evolving and growing. So since June, a lot has even changed. And from our first cohort that has gone through the academy, we've learned a lot from those 22 individuals, as well as our business that is supporting them through it. So we're kind of going through this ongoing strategy to make sure that it makes sense, what we're kind of educating everyone with, and our approach to delivering it to the business is evolving. So my messaging might even change a little bit. So SoftwareONE Academy, pretty straightforward, but I'll get into who we are and what it is at SoftwareONE. So again, it started early this year. We had a small group of 9 people go through in April. And Ioana, who is here with me today, she was one of those that joined us and went through kind of an intro, which is where we're starting in November again in that similar kind of intern route. And we had those 9 people go through and really kind of get some hands-on training and be able to work with about 4 or 5 subject matter experts at SoftwareONE to focus specifically each week on different areas of our business. And I'm going to have her talk a little bit more specifically about her experience with that in just a minute after I kind of cap all of this off. But ideally, what we're trying to do is provide education and training and upskilling to individuals that want to get into the tech industry. So our academy approach is to find any individuals, whether they have a bachelor's degree all the way up to their doctorate, whatever any sort of levels of education, or any sort of boot camp training or a certification or an inkling of interest to want to get into technology. We kind of bring them into our business and upskill them, as I said, with the skills that they need to work at SoftwareONE. So a lot of the influence that goes into that curriculum is coming from SoftwareONE specific. So where our customer projects are at the moment, where we need to be hiring talent to be working. And so it's pretty specific to being able to get you aligned with work at SoftwareONE. So this program, our kind of slogan is big ideas in small communities. So we're bridging the gap between education and workplace by providing that the program to be able to give you that experience. There's so many times that I've talked with people that are like, I'm just nervous to jump into a job somewhere at a company. They might be bringing any sort of training that they've had in the past, and they're not quite ready to jump into the corporate world. So this is a perfect intro into that, and to be able to give you 3 months of guided training. A lot of it is pretty self-paced. Some of the feedback that we've gained from our first cohort, which is one of the changes that we'll be adapting for this next cohort, is to have more instructor-led trainings and less kind of time for you all to figure it out on your own. I think some of the people designing the curriculum for the first round wanted to provide a very long leash on people being able to read and learn things on their own. And some of the feedback that we got was that they needed more check-ins and more kind of face time with someone that's actually teaching the curriculum versus just tons of words to have to read through. So what's included, I kind of already started to allude to this, but so that guided digital learning is that phase that we want to be able to hire people that are kind of comfortable with being able to complete self-guided trainings and do that reading and that certification. Some of the courses that you'll be going through would require you to get certified, and there's a lot that goes into it. So I don't want to sugarcoat the amount of work that's involved with this program. It will require people to be very motivated, to be heads down and work pretty hard. But in the end, it will pay off because it's a very fast track into an associate role at SoftwareONE. So you will get that expert support, and you would have the industry leading mentors working with you week to week, day to day, whatever you need to make yourself successful. So it's different for every single person. It's a one-on-one type of a scenario with your mentor that you get assigned. We do some work on the back end to make sure that that pairing, that mentor that you would be set up with, is a good, strong fit for what works best for you and kind of your personality. So you would have
Nina, can I ask a quick question?
Please, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I know when we talked before, you kind of mentioned that there were 2 phases, like a 9-week internship followed by the SoftwareONE Academy. And I was wondering, is what you're describing now part of the 9-week intro program, or is that separate?
It's kind of both, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a 6-week, actually 6-week intro
I'm sorry.
internship.
Yeah, 6
No,
weeks. Sorry.
that's okay. So 6 weeks that start November 1st and come right up to holiday Christmas time. And it's going to be a little bit different than the experience that Ioana went through, where we last April, we were kind of rolling this out as it was all being developed. And so we've kind of changed and been able to take time to tailor it a little bit more. So this will all still be in that first 6 weeks, as well as the actual academy that starts early January.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for stopping and asking. And step in if I'm kind of rambling on and it's not making sense or I'm talking in circles. So step in at any time. So again, that expert support and the mentors would help guide you wherever kind of you need that relationship support, whether it is, how do I navigate SoftwareONE? What the heck do we do at SoftwareONE? The training that I'm doing day to day, how does this make sense at SoftwareONE? How does it make sense in the industry or the world? So they're there to help you navigate how to become a professional in the industry. And then the practical problem solving, of course, there's going to be kind of regular check-ins to make sure that you are digesting the things that you're learning and the ongoing trainings that you're taking, that it actually is making sense. And so there'll be kind of programs and projects that you'll do as a team with the other people that you're hired with to apply the skills that you're learning. And then on the job training, you will get set up with a team that will help they'll wrap their arms around you and be able to bring you in to the different teams real life work scenarios. So whether it's their team meetings or working through a customer scenario, depending on where your kind of study or your focus is within the academy, you will get assigned to a team to kind of help you understand that. What does it mean within SoftwareONE portion? So that's the on-the-job training. Who is this for? Again, just kind of reiterating that this is intended for talented people that are really, really passionate about the technology industry. This next cohort that we're going to be hiring is a little bit different than the first one, whereas we had 4 major tracks for our first cohort that was specific towards application modernization developers. It was project managers, it was consultants, and it was cybersecurity individuals. So this next time around, we'll be continuing to focus on application modernization developers, but also adding in a focus of managed services. So the goal with that focus on managed services is to find individuals that have kind of a broad understanding of the tech industry and the tech stack, and someone that's passionate for kind of figuring out the why. And if there's a problem with something, they're passionate about like working up towards that point and trying to really figure out what the issue might be. So within cloud services, which is what this focus would be, it's anything from rebuilding or replatforming the cloud, security management, backup and recovery, infrastructure. It's very it can go in so many different areas, but the focus is meant for in customer scenarios, if they already have a cloud service, for these managed services to go in and manage it. So day to day, kind of configuring how it's looking and working and make sure it is working. So it's going to be kind of a slow ride into learning all of it. We know you're not going to come in as a service expert. And so there's going to be a lot of exposure in a ton of different areas. So that's kind of another change from before, where it's, like I said, that slow ride and slow exposure versus putting you on one specific track and making you kind of figure it out day to day in that one track. We've learned that a ton of people that went through the first cohort are now near the end of the cohort, and they're like, that was great, but maybe I want to try something different. So this second time around, we're hoping to be able to keep it a bit more broad to make sure that they're learning a lot more different things. And it's going to be more successful in the end, because then they can kind of reflect at the end and then navigate what they liked the most so they can continue their career at SoftwareONE in that area. And then just kind of bringing it full circle, a part of our academy program is this giving back portion. So everybody that we hire at SoftwareONE, we contribute with this company, One Tree Planted. And so every person we hire will plant a tree in your honor, sort of. So that is SoftwareONE and our academy. I hope I gave enough information, but Mike, Ashley, anyone that has questions, feel free to jump in. Otherwise, I'll hand it over to Ioana to give her kind of firsthand account of it all too.
Oh, that's great. I think we're starting to get some questions about just specifically about what roles, we've been training people with front-end development, back-end development, and designers. And there are also people interested in program management roles. So I was just wondering which of those roles you are going to have openings for, which kind of tracks, and then we'd love to hear from your current participants of that.
Yeah. So at this point, I am keeping it open as to anyone that applies. Similar to when I go to universities, I don't narrow it to degrees that they hold, because if anyone has a passion for technology, passion for figuring out getting their career started, it's more so about the aptitude and being able to dedicate themselves into making this their life. And if you want to be a developer, that's great. We can absolutely build your career from there. If it's project management or program management, I think you said, there's all of those careers still at SoftwareONE. This is just kind of the entry point. And like I said, we want to make it more broad in the beginning stage to be able to provide a ton of information early on, so you can make kind of that educated change at the end of the academy.
Okay, so and like user experience and design people as well, that excludes that as well. Okay, awesome.
Includes, I would say it includes that.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we'd love to hear more now.
Awesome. So you want to feel free to share whatever you feel, your personal take on what you did at SoftwareONE throughout the academy. You have a couple weeks left, so you're really close to being done with it. But Ioana came in and like I said, she started in April in the intern program and then through the full academy, which is what we intend for everybody to do the next time around too.
Thank you, Nina. Hi, everybody. My name is Ioana. I'm an academy intern at SoftwareONE. Like Nina said, I started back in April, so it's been 4 months now. I just want to say, if you're passionate about technology, I think SoftwareONE is a great place to start. They do provide training, and I think I'm not sure exactly how the next cohort is going to be structured, but when I started, even the hiring process went very smoothly, so I was impressed with that. And then when we started, the onboarding went well, and right away we started having some hands-on on little projects. Since then, I did some studying about cloud migration, and I got certified for Microsoft. I took the AZ900 and the DP900, which are kind of like fundamentals for Microsoft. So not only you will get certified, but you also have like a training modules that you have to complete. And I think it's a great place to start. I'm a bootcamp graduate. I don't have prior coding background. So this was a great, I want to say, start for me. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity. If you have any questions, feel free to write to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer any questions. Or if you have any questions right now, I'll be happy to answer.
Oh, that's great, Ioana. And also we had Sosa joined us too, Nina. I don't know if you were going to have her talk as well.
Yeah, I was just messaging her on the side to say hi. I just noticed that she was there too. So yeah, as long as you're comfortable, Sosa, kind of sharing your experience going through. She joined after graduating from university and joined us at the end of May. So her experience was a little bit different than Ioana's, but still very valuable. And her kind of start into the program was a little bit more unique, as she didn't have a ton of like tech experience, but she wanted to get started. And so yeah, I'm not going to keep talking for you, Sosa. Go ahead.
Thanks, Nina. Hi, everyone. My name is Sosa. I'm a recent graduate from UNC Chapel Hill, go Heels, based in North Carolina. So my journey with SoftwareONE has been pretty unique. I actually made a switch from being pre-med to wanting to go into the tech field my last fall semester before graduating from university. So I went to a career fair just like this one, and I talked with someone from the company, and they actually connected me with Nina, and that's how I got involved with SoftwareONE. So far, I'm about 3 months in, and I can attest that this is definitely a great company. I'm very, very fortunate to work for them. Everybody has been very nice so far that I've encountered. Joining this company, I started messaging people just so that I can kind of just introduce myself to people. One thing I really like about SoftwareONE is like we don't have really a hierarchy in our company. So great example is actually during my first couple of weeks, I had a meeting with Ashley Gary, who's the president of the North America regions, and I just put myself on her schedule, kind of took a chance, and I did it just so that I could say hi to her, and she was excited for me to meet her. But that's my experience overall as the company. With the academy itself, it's been really great. The thing that stood out to me most with the academy is that I was paired with a mentor upon entering the academy. And that's been the best thing about my experience so far, because I had little to no tech background. Since coming into the academy, I also have received my Azure Fundamentals certification. And that's something that I'm really proud of, because this was very much me stepping outside of my comfort zone and taking a risk with this career path and challenging myself. And I'm seeing the fruit of my labor so far. They have been really welcoming, as I said before. And then there's also just room for opportunity. For me, like, I think it's really cool. I get to come here and talk to you guys about my experience, because I just was in this position. So it's really nice that I'm like, I'm here giving you guys, advice. But if you have any questions specifically that I can answer for you, just go ahead and like shoot me a message. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I love meeting people and talking to people. I'm sure you could tell. So yeah, just if you have any questions, please let us know. And happy that you all attended and could learn a little bit more about our SWO culture.
That's great. One thing I would, if you put in the chat, you send me your details on both you and Iona. If you are happy to have people talk to you on LinkedIn, I can then forward that to our Slack channel, where some people, we've been collecting information there. So that'll be a good way to get that out to people. So thanks. So Nina, did you want to invite some people to ask some in-person questions now?
Yeah, anyone and everyone.
All right. So just to organize this, if you want to use the raise your hand feature of Zoom, I'm also monitoring on the YouTube channel, the link that we sent out. And you're welcome to ask a question, or you can type something in the chat, and I'll kind of look for that as well. Any questions from people who are on the call? I don't see any hands up yet. On YouTube, that's someone was asking, what's a typical day look like, as going through the internship and the academy?
I'll leave that up to the girls that are doing it. So you want to?
Sure. A question about the interview process. This was my experience. I initially had a phone screening with Nina, and then followed by a codility test. I had 2 algorithms, and then after that, I had an interview with a senior developer, and Nina as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be that way again. Similar the next time around again, just with a secondary assessment as well, more kind of personality assessment, so we can work better to match those tech mentors.
To answer a question about a typical day, so it really varies. It could be a busier week where we were working on a group project. Funny enough, Joanna and I were on the same team for our Pelagian Games project, which was really cool. So we could have weekly meetings for that. We have a core consulting component in the academy. So we could have, I think those were pretty bi-weekly, I would say, that we would have a core consulting meeting with Andrew Calloway. And then if you have specific meetings for your track, so I'm on the project management track, and I know I have meetings twice a week with my mentor. And then I also have internal projects I'm currently starting to manage. And so I have meetings based off of that as well. So my typical day, like it could be I have 3 meetings a day, it could be I have 2 meetings a day, but outside of just meetings, I also have independent learning that I do for the academy. So before getting my Azure certification, I was doing the learning tracks for it through Microsoft. And even now I have like some additional training that the academy wants me to do. So whenever I'm not in meetings, I'm usually doing my independent learning or, find my own period. I kind of build my schedule, at least for my perspective on the project management track. I know the development track looks a little differently. I don't know, do you want to speak on that?
Yes, I'm on the developer track. So my experience is a little bit different. I do have each week about 2 team meetings with our mentor, and we're working on a project together. He's available if we have any questions during the week, but these are scheduled meetings. But other than that, I do individual learning. As I mentioned, we have those training modules that we have to complete. And I do see a questions. It says biggest challenges. And I think for me, because the program was not very structured, like how many learning courses how many courses you have to complete by when. For me, the biggest challenge was to manage my time, like what to focus on. But I think going forward, that's going to change a little bit from what Nina said. So as long as you're passionate and you do want to learn, like I said, I think it's a great place to be.
Yeah, and I just one of the things that came by, just to clarify, this is all done remotely at this next cohort. Is that right, Nina?
Yep, I was going to jump in and answer some of that too. So that's right. It's all done remote. We do have a couple different hubs, if you will, that we're going to be focusing on this next go around. One of which is in Atlanta, and then the other one is in Milwaukee. So the Milwaukee one, we're actually moving. That's our U.S. headquarters. We're moving in Q1 of next year. And so that one won't obviously be ready until that point, probably like February to March of next year. But this whole academy program is fully remote. We want to get together when it's safe to do so again. That's a huge part of our culture, is being together and networking with one another and just having that camaraderie in person. So it is remote, but there may be some travel at some point. And also voluntary. If you don't feel comfortable to travel, it's not required. Then I wanted to address the 8 to 5 schedule or self-paced. It's kind of both. Sosa was right. It's self-paced. So that's one of the huge beauties, I guess, of working at SoftwareONE. We're an extremely flexible company. We're a global company. So we're working with people all around the globe all the time. And so because of that, and we're able to kind of operate our desk like it's our own business. So whatever makes sense for you, wherever you have internet connection, you can work. However, there still is the caveat that there's still 8 to 5 general business hours. And as long as kind of the people you're working with and your leader have an idea of where you are at and know if they need to get a hold of you, that they can. So it's extremely flexible and self-paced, because you can do the work. If you're a night owl, you can stay up late and do your work. Or if you love early morning time, you can wake up super early and get it out and done early. So it's very flexible and very self-paced, but we still want to make sure that you're an active participant in our program too. There was something else that I saw. Oh, once the internship is complete, how long is the next phase? I believe academy phase. How long is the phase? Paid? All of that question. And I want to answer that one too. Great question. So internship, like I said, is 6 weeks long. After Christmas, then you would go into the academy that starts for 3 months then. So then you'd work in the academy through the end of March. It is all paid. The internship is paid hourly, and then the academy is a salaried role. And then you are considered a full-time SoftwareONE employee from the internship day one. So you're full-time through the internship, and then the academy too. It's full-time, permanent full-time employee. And yes, you get a job offer from that first day. And then again, when you move into the academy, you get another offer because your title as well as your compensation changes at that point.
I'm seeing some questions about the screening process that you do to apply. I know we do have, for our developers in our program, I think that the highest anxiety is about algorithms and data structures. We've been covering in our program very practical day-to-day skills, building projects, etc. But it's not a full CS program, and so people are trying to fill in their knowledge of algorithms and data structures because they know that those are asked as hiring questions. So two-part question, I guess, is what for people who aren't technical. Well, I'll say, so people who are more design track or maybe designers, the coding question would not be appropriate for them to apply to your program through that kind of screening, or they wouldn't be as prepared. And then also for the developers, I know you mentioned something about using Codility to do some screening.
Yep. Yeah. So the Codility assessment has changed even slightly, not a ton since Ioana took it, but I would like for her to kind of give her take because I'm not a developer, but it's not meant to be a pass fail. It's meant to understand where the baseline is that you're coming at. So I believe it's set at like elementary level or like just entry level. So it's pretty easy to complete. You want to step in?
I agree. Yes. I think as long as you're practicing on Lead Code or other platforms and you're doing great on easy, moderate questions, I think you should be fine.
Yeah, and I think that was because we had a lot. So this is why we changed it since then. We had a ton of people receive a 0 because the challenging thing with Codility is after you take it, it doesn't tell you where it failed. And so we learned that we needed to change that slightly, but also it showed a lot more to us if people were willing to test it on their own after the fact until they could figure it out, type of a thing, rather than just a pass fail. So it's really how you kind of address that scenario of not achieving the score you want and then doing it until you can figure it out on your own.
So persistence matters.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
What else are we missing?
Yeah, I'm trying to source other questions here. Let me look to YouTube because you're probably not seeing those.
There's a question.
Clarifying it is paid.
There's a question about, and Nina, I think you can answer this better than both of us. If someone is a U.S. citizen who lives abroad on a case-by-case basis, how should they apply even though they live in Europe?
That's still true. Definitely would still encourage you to apply and would like to have a conversation with you, but this is a global program too. So if it makes sense, depending on what region you're living in, to do it in person or somewhere closer to your own time zone, we can talk through that. But as long as you're a US citizen, it's all kind of like a tax issue. Got to make sure that we can pay you appropriately. So we'll take that still case by case. Great question about accepting applications. So I fully intended to have the link for you available today to apply right now. There is a lovely leadership meeting happening this week that the approval got stuck with someone that is sitting in a physical conference room right now. So I have been nudging them to hit that button for the last 24 hours, but I will have it hopefully by the end of the day today. So maybe back to Mike, what's the best way to kind of get that back to this group?
Yeah, I will post any information
Okay.
like that you give me back to our Slack channel, and we will also do a summary in email to everybody in our program so that
Perfect.
they can look at this video and then get the links for the application process.
Perfect.
I see a lot of questions on YouTube. People are sharing information about how to study algorithms and data structures with each other, which is great. Any other questions? Let me see. I haven't looked at see anyone's that raised their hands or not lately.
Somebody had their hand raised, but I don't know if we got to them.
I think we had Marlos, but I think Marlos, did you still have a question? You said you did, but you maybe have another one.
Yeah, now I have another one. I just posted in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead and ask it in person.
Yeah, so I'd like to know about the current roles of the UX designers that work at SoftwareONE. What kind of tests they do they do, like user research or maybe visual design, interaction design?
That's a really good question that I don't know the answer to.
Okay.
I think that the Academy program, those training modules are mostly focused on fundamentals, and I think they kind of want to have everybody cover the fundamentals and kind of be at the same level. What we use so far is for front end, I think we used React, JavaScript is a language, and then for backend we're working on a project with C# and .NET. Those were new to me because on bootcamp I covered JavaScript, React, Redux. So depending on the project.
Okay, thank you.
And I took a snip of your question, so I'm going to find it out for you.
Thanks, and we'll send that out to the group. Xander had a question. Xander, you could unmute if you want to ask it in person.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Hi, Xander.
Hey, I just want to know if you guys offer any machine learning roles within the company.
Not that I'm aware of at this time. How our academy is going to continue to evolve is based on kind of business demands. And if we have new customer acquisition or anything like that, that would focus primarily in machine learning, potentially in the future, but not that I'm aware of at this moment.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
This is Ashley. I'll take a question from YouTube. Ebony Nelson has a question. She's wondering when you will be notified if you get into the program, and you get a letter saying you didn't get accepted.
Yes. So yes, you would get a letter if you are rejected. And when you would get notified, my goal is to have the interviews completed by the end of September. So then we would have offer letters out at that point, and you would obviously know if you get an offer letter, and then you would know if we choose to go with other candidates. So the start date is November 1st. So then we would have plenty of time to onboard, and we would send a laptop to your home to work from there, and obviously go through all of the onboarding at that point. We do require everyone that joins SoftwareONE to go through a background check and a drug screen. So that's part of the onboarding process. And so you get a laptop, have to go through those screens. Otherwise, it's pretty simple to get started.
So the time you mentioned, like, we'll get the application process out. Maybe you could just go through, like, what would people expect the timeline be? So if they get the URL to your application process, you said there were kind of like 4 steps or so, I think I recall.
Yep.
What the timing would be.
Yeah. So I wish I could have it down to a science. I don't completely know, but
yeah.
In this next month, I want to be able to start and end the whole interview process. It's a little bit challenging, especially with the final stage being with subject matter experts and navigating their calendars. But what I did last time was helpful, and we'll do it again, where I put kind of blocks of half days or full days with those people so they can know and expect that that day is going to be full of interviews. And so ideally, I want to be able to run through it start to finish in about 3 to 4 weeks. It all kind of depends on how many applicants we get. There are 15 seats for the intern program. So if we get hundreds of applicants, it will be one thing, take a bit longer to funnel through. Or if we get 20 people, then we can breeze through pretty quickly. But I wish, like I said, I wish I could have it down to a science, but ideally start and finish in a month.
Okay, so it starts off with just basically basic information, a codility thing that you do next, and then scheduling a couple of interviews after that.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and then all finishing by September, end of September, you hope.
End of September. Yes.
Okay, that sounds great. All right. Let's take a look again. Any other questions?
There's another question about the range of certifications possible with the program.
Thank you.
For now, what we did have was the Azure ones, the fundamentals, and then for development track, there's another one that we have to complete by the end of the program. Of course, AWS knowledge is going to be very useful if you have the certification. And I think we're going to learn more about technologies later on. Pretty soon we're going to be starting to shadow the developers on projects, and I think that's going to be, I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be very good for us.
I don't know, Sosa, did you answer this already? Like, I think you said you were in project management track, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so did you also have to do a technical interview and how does that and codility test or?
I actually didn't have to, and that's because project management, so far, I have not had to interact with anything coding wise. But I did mention for myself, and also I guess just to understand a little bit more and for like future things I want to achieve, I'd probably learn a fundamental coding language such as Java. But the phase that I'm in right now, we only had the Azure certification, like Joanna mentioned, and then my role is also transitioning into shadowing soon. We kind of went from like learning a bunch of training, managing internal projects for the PMO team right now. And then I will be doing shadowing in the different areas of PMO. I say PMO is the project management team. I'll be doing the shadowing in different areas of it. And somebody just asked who pays for the certification exam fee, and the company does. So I didn't pay anything. We all didn't pay anything.
The Azure fundamentals, the AZ 900 is a requirement in the Academy. So to complete that, we do require you to do that if you don't have it before you come. And then there's other like optional certifications while you're in it. For example, there's a different, and I don't know the street name of it, but AZ 204 is another Azure certification that you can get. Then this is specific to developers again, that we gave training materials, learning materials to complete it. But I guess you need a lot more kind of hands-on experience to be able to complete it. So kind of set them up in the beginning, early stages of their career. And then as they get more experience and hands-on knowledge, they can complete it if they want.
Okay, so this is a certification, not before they apply, but while they're in your program.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. I don't see any other questions unless somebody else has one that I may have missed some. There's been a lot scrolling through on text. Oh, someone asked if there was a place for mobile developers in your program.
Yeah, apply.
Yeah.
You can always have a conversation.
Yeah. All right. Okay, well, I think we're kind of have exhausted the live questions, I believe, unless I'm missing something. I'd say, oh, someone said one more thing. Guilo, you want to ask your question in person?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good, we're not having issues this time. Okay, so I saw earlier a list of like languages the company seems to be using currently, such as .NET, C#, Node.js, and Java. Are software engineers expected to be able to just, there's this one project that is probably better off using a specific language. Would they then have to switch to that language for the project, or do the software engineers specialize within the company on languages?
Do you know how that's worked with the languages throughout your training?
Yeah, like I said, on bootcamp, I learned JavaScript. So coming to SoftwareONE, I learned here fundamentals for C#. So I think in the Academy program, you will be trained fundamentals on multiple languages. And then later on, depending on the project you're going to be on, you're going to start shadowing. And then based on the knowledge you have, you probably are going to contribute to those projects. But I think this is what the Academy program is for, to continue your learning and continue like working on different languages. Those are just a few of them. I have other training modules for Git to collaborate with teams, and containers, deploying on Azure or AWS. There's many things you could learn.
Yeah, there's no prerequisite to joining as far as languages go. For that codility assessment, you can select what language you're most comfortable with and then do that assessment in that language. But it's not, it doesn't totally matter to us what you're most comfortable with. And like we said, it's that persistence and the passion for understanding the deeper and getting to know more about it.
I just wanted to pipe in and ask a few more questions I see on YouTube. One is just to confirm, because you said no more languages. So do people need to know React? Wasn't sure if you covered that. No, the answer is no.
Nope.
Okay, and the other question was, which is a good one, I thought, is what makes an applicant stand out during the selection process? This is from Jenny Moyes. I'm not sure I said your name right, Jenny, sorry.
That's a great question. Honestly, the applications are going to be the hardest part, I feel like, because it's in the funneling process, the early stage. I'll be the one reviewing the resumes at that point, and we might build in a video option to be able to answer a question through that video, and that's going to give us a good way to understand kind of how your brain works before we even start the interview process. But like I said, it's honestly the high aptitude and the passion behind what you want to do with your career. This whole program is intended to bring people in from all walks of life. So it's not like there's certifications or education that's going to make you more valuable than the next person. It's the people that want to start at a company and grow their career here. And I think that's all going to come in through the interview process and getting to know somebody that way.
Yeah, I would want to add, Nina, I don't know if you know that we had about 1,000 people start our program, and now we're down to kind of a core of maybe a little about around 100 that have kind of completed everything up to this level. So I think in that group, especially, like the level of commitment that they've shown, the adversity they've gone through, the working with teams, having people, maybe the partners not work, they had to fill in, but for other people who weren't doing things on time. But that we're going through a series of demos now where people are demoing the projects they finished, and I've been super impressed. So I think I would give advice for everyone, who is applying, to talk about your experience here in this program too, because I think it does demonstrate how committed you are and how persistent you all have been. And it sounds like that's the kind of qualities that you guys are looking for in a successful applicant.
Yeah, and we hire really true to our 7 core values. So part of the interview process will be referencing our core values. So any research you can do on that and understand that that's a huge part of who we are. And we hire very true to those core values, because even though we're hiring in this remote capacity, we still want to make sure that we're enjoying the people that we're working with and you collaborate well together. So that's going to be part of the process too. Not that we're going to quiz you on our core values by any means, but if people kind of reference that they had read through them, or they have kind of seen them or jotted them down, that's usually helpful to hear that people have been engaged and like actually interested in SoftwareONE.
All right. That's great. I think we're pretty much out of questions now. And so like I said, we'll follow up, Nina, when you get that approval button clicked.
Yep.
we will forward that information on. It's going to be happening quick. We have, I think you want to get your applications all done by the end of the month, I believe you said. Is that right?
End of September.
Oh, I'm sorry. The applications to you though, like to start.
Yeah. I mean, the
End of
earlier the
September?
better.
Okay, but you're still taking them through.
Yes.
Okay, well, I would
Yeah.
get them in as soon as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
because you'll get in the queue and get started, and if there's a lot of people, to schedule, I think it'd be good to do.
Exactly. Yep. I don't typically have like an end date to applications, because you never know who can come in at any point. So typically still encourage anyone and everyone to apply, and still would consider you even if it's the day before we're sending out offer letters. So
Okay.
just know that the earlier the better usually.
All right. Okay, great. Well, thank you. And thank you, Nina. And thank you, Yona and Sosa, for sharing your experience with all of our participants here. It sounds like a really fun program. And, I think a lot of our participants would do really well in that as well. So it's great to be able to match you guys up.
Thank you for letting us come and talk to you and share all of our information. And I really hope to see a ton of applicants and look forward to working through the interview process. So appreciate all of your time.
Thank you so much to everyone at SoftwareONE who's participating.
Of
Thank
course.
you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Really
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for spending the time with us. See you
And
later.
thanks to all the participants who logged on as well.
Thank you. Bye.
More very soon.
Bye.
Bye.